we're off and racing round one of the National Rugby League, and SEN have got you well and truly covered in 2025. It's a massive year. The Melbourne Storm, 56, smashed the Eels, 18. I was listening to Channel 9 before the game, and they interviewed Jason Rolls, and the question was posed to him, are you nervous? And he replied, no, I'm not nervous. I'm nervous for the players. And I tell you what, true that. It turned out to be the case with that one. Just on, at halftime, 46-6. I was thinking the press conference was going to be a bit like Mal Meninga's political career. I was waiting for Rolls to turn up and go, this is not for me. But to be fair to Rolls and Parramatta, they did bounce back. Yep. And speaking about Jason Rolls, obviously he's pressed in the press conference, difficult times, but here's what he had to say around the Storm 56 defeating the Eels 18.
We've had a lot of change and a lot of change in personnel. The program's changed, and then I've tried to change a lot of things that we're doing on the field. So it's going to take time, and I think a lot of that's sort of back onto me because there's periods of the game there where, you know, we had some really good periods. At the end of the day, I think there's some real, dare I say, positives to come out of it, but at the same time, we've still got a way to go in regards to where we want to get to.
I'm going to ask you this, Sugar, because Coach Trent Robinson said pretty much a similar thing, saying there were some positives out of. Who had more positives, the Eels or the Roosters?
Oh, look, I'm not factoring in, and by the way, I thought Rolsey spoke well then. I was having a bit of fun before that, but you know what I just think, Brian? I just think that for the case for the Roosters and Parramatta, just don't mark them both too hard right now. They have just ran into winks, both of them. They are elite machines, the Melbourne Storm and the Broncos. As I said, Penrith, Melbourne and the Broncos, the three best rosters with the three best coaches.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Melbourne are going to do this to a lot of teams this year. Broncos are going to do it to a lot of the teams this year. I said Roosters will still make the 8. People hammered me for that. But when you think about it, who do you have at 8th that you think's really going to dust up the Roosters? Really? Who do you actually have sitting in 8th who you think are going to dust up the Roosters? People said, yeah, you're trying to double down. And no, I said before the game Broncos would flog the Roosters. I do think Penrith will beat the Roosters this week as well. But then after that, I think the Roosters can go on a bit of a run and maybe finish the first 5 games with 3 wins and 2 losses. They'll be back in the groove. But back to this Melbourne Storm side, holy dooly, didn't they look good?
Look, they had everything going for them. They're down there. It was fast. It was 35 degrees. So, and their playmakers or their what do we call it? The switchboard.
Switchboards.
The switchboard. It's the best in the competition.
It is.
And I think, and I said this last week, I can't see anyone beating them. If they stay this side, I cannot see anyone beating them.
Penrith could, Brisbane could on their day.
I don't think they can.
But
I know
it's a 3-horse race. So the percentages, and we'll get Shawnee later on. The percentages in the market is Brisbane, Penrith, or Melbourne. One of those to win is 58%. It's more north than that, isn't it?
Oh, I think so. Yeah,
it's 75%, isn't it? Anyway, we'll catch up with him a little bit later on. They are the best playmakers in the competition, the Melbourne Storm. And then when you throw He-Man here on the fullback, Ryan Papenhuyzen, how can you stop him? Here's Craig Bellamy on the Pap.
First half, I think that's probably the quickest and the most slick he's looked, since he's come back. Since, he's had a horrific run of injuries. Like they haven't been just like 2 or 3 weekers. They've been, 3 or 4 months. And like I say, his first half here this afternoon, it was outstanding, and I'm sure he'll only get a bit better from here, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll have a good injury run.
Stan Sport have got the doco out too for Craig Bellamy. Haven't seen it yet. Can't wait to see that. Storm have the bye next week. They've got the bye. Eels head to CommBank for a clash with the West Tigers. Tigers, be ready for this. The Eels at CommBank, it'll be different gravy. This is completely different gravy. This is not a tap-in for the Tigers, despite getting back Appy Coruscant and possibly Jareem Buller. Daddy Cool doing the Eagle Rock, 42-12. Sold out 4 Pines Park. I don't think I've ever seen, in my lifetime in the National Rugby League, see a minimum of 3 teams come out so hot. Broncos, Manly, Storm. Just brilliant stuff. Huge first half from the Seagulls, 16-0 after 11 minutes. They weren't in the game. The Cowboys, the pack was awesome. Paseka Sipley, Ola Kawatu, but the big show, Tom Trbojevic and Daly Cherry Evans, once again star for the Seagulls. Here's what Daly Cherry Evans had to say about the round one performance, courtesy of Fox.
I haven't won too many round one games, so that's right up there. So it's nice to get the season off to a great start, but that's all it is. It's just a good start to the season. So it doesn't guarantee anything later in the season. You still got to keep earning your way. There's a great foundation that was laid there by most of the team tonight, to be fair, so we just got to keep building on that. And we should be proud of this one. We'll enjoy this one, but again, long term, doesn't mean much, but we'll take a lot of confidence out of it.
It's only round one, Brian. We don't want to overreact, but it kind of feels like at this stage there's 3 pods. Brisbane, Penrith, Melbourne. Then you've got Canterbury, Cronulla, Manly, and then you've got the rest. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, I do. Their pack. They're the biggest pack in the competition. Do you agree?
Yep. They're a smoky.
Geez, they were impressive. Paseka, he was good. Look, they didn't give much resistance to Cowboys, so I'm not as confident as I am with Melbourne, as I am with the Seagulls.
No.
Seagulls could, sneak into the 4.
Well, with Tommy and DCE, you're in every game, aren't you? You're in every single game.
They're quite quick.
As for the Cowboys, Brian, our man Tommy Duffy had a tough day out.
He did. The Duck got a little. What did you say, tourist? He's got a bit of hoist and sauce on him, wrapped up in a blanket and just hanging upside down somewhere. Hopefully they give him another crack.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Because, they were outplayed in the middle. And when your forward pack is getting hammered as a half, and he was kicking off the back foot. He showed a couple of little glimpses, if a couple of those little rainbow balls, as they call them, or the balloon passes came off.
Harbour Bridge pass.
He just sort of was a little bit nervous maybe, but I'm pleading with Toddy that he gives him another crack, especially at home.
Yeah, okay. Well, so what's the case for those beaten sides? The Roosters got to take on Penrith, and the Cowboys got to take on the Sharks. It is tough going for those teams. Todd Payton, how did he address his troops after the loss? Here's what he had to say.
I spoke about some of our individuals being off the mark, asked them to have a think about their prep, physically and mentally. Then asked a question which I didn't need an answer for straight away, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. And then just told them to be ready to work when we come back to work through the week. It's round one. And they put their heads down and stayed together.
Alrighty, look, if it was round 17, you could maybe sort of be excused for having a poor preparation. Round one, I don't think so. For the Cowboys, they must respond in a big way versus Sharks this week. Bulldogs defeated the Dragons 28-20. Very flattering in the end for the Dragons. I thought the Dogs were super dominant.
Yeah, they were. Those last 2 tries came when Crichton went off with those leg cramps. So, I don't know. The Bulldogs defensively, again, were very, very good.
Yep.
Dragons' errors. Every time they made an error, the Bulldogs scored. They went bang, bang, bang. We've got Bulldogs in our top 4. Do you?
Oh, yeah, thereabouts. I tell you, and this is very Penrith-esque. This is Canterbury-esque, of course. Serraldo from that. Let's hear from Serraldo first, and I'll give you my 2 bobs on the other side of this.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome for us. It gave us a chance to show everything we've done, worked on over the pre-season, and we've got the 28-6 there, and pretty happy with what we've done thus far there. But it was good we had to win it again in the last 20 minutes of the game, and I thought it showed a lot of bravery. We had to stay calm there when the momentum sort of went back to them, and it'd be really good for our guys moving forward.
Fletch, people have been critical of Cameron Serraldo and Burton only in the department of not doing the torpedo bomb anymore.
Yeah.
But I think the reason they're not doing it is because the control Burton has with his end-over-end kick. So Canterbury conceded the fewest kick return metres, which in other words, if you watch the match, the whole game, they suffocated the Dragons. Yeah. Burton would just put the ball up, and the moment that the Dragons players were catching it, the kick chase just went whack. There was 94 kick return metres in the whole match.
Yeah.
That was the best in the whole competition from the Burton kick. It was...
hang time, we call that.
Hang time.
Yep.
But if you do that all game... If you're conceding only 90 metres from kick returns, how the hell does the other team see the other end of the ground?
And I feel that this has been a work in progress for the Dogs. So he obviously, Cameron Serraldo has come from Penrith, and they do that so well.
Yep.
And he's copied that, and the players haven't bought in for that.
No.
The first year they certainly didn't. Second year, we had all these new players. They saw, they went pretty good. They made the semi-finals for the first time in a long time. Now they're understanding what it takes to be patient.
Yes.
You've got to be patient in this game, as we've seen what Penrith can do. They're so consistent. So I'm not saying that they're there yet, but they've got a lot more upside than a lot of other sides, I feel. And Burton was, I thought Burton was good because he was sort of running first.
Yes.
Or giving an early ball to kick out. I thought that he wasn't sort of overplaying his hand. So even that, he's maturing and becoming a little bit more patient.
They're going to be hard to beat. They're going to be hard to beat. If you look at the kick return meters conceded in round one, Manly, Broncos, Bulldogs, Panthers, Raiders, they were about the best five.
But
and they all won. They all won pretty comfortably.
It does, because that's the way they were playing. They were running hard through the middle, getting a quick play of the ball, which allowing their kickers to put it where there was no pressure on Burton.
No.
None.
What did Shane Flanagan think about the loss of the Red V part of me?
Oh, we beat ourselves. Too many errors, yardage errors. Just didn't give ourselves a chance. Just dropping the ball on kicks. Play two coming out of end. I think they had 3 play the balls in their 20 in the second half. Just no field position. But it was, we just turned the ball over. When we get field position and we can play footy, and so we can score tries. But when you turn the footy over and have errors like that today, 68% completion rate, you're not going to win.
There you go, Shane Flanagan after the 8-point loss to the Bulldogs. Paul writes, "Hey, Sugar and Yogi, every season it's the same with you media blokes. It's only round one, lads. Let the dust settle and give it at least a month." Regards, Paul. What are you referring to, Paul? We've been saying much the same thing. Tell us exactly what you think we've gone off early with. 1300 01 1170. Rabbitohs 16 defeat the Dolphins 14. Oh, I got that wrong, Brian. I declared the Dolphins. Charles Leclerc. 3 tries apiece, and I suppose if you go through every metric, Dolphins pretty much had them covered all over the stats page. However, not as far as the 2 competitions points are concerned. Campbell Graham was awesome. Tyrone Munro, 2 tries before getting injured.
Broken his collarbone again.
Yes.
3rd time.
I know.
Poor kid.
Jamie Humphries, this is probably what beat my tip of the Dolphins. He was good.
Kicking game was good.
But he walked around like he was a first grader.
Yeah.
He looked like a first grader.
He's got a little bit of swagger about him.
Ooh.
I feel that young Dodd may be playing reserve grade for the next month or so.
He could be.
It was a good game. I thought the Dolphins, when they came out of the second half, I thought, oh, here they come.
Yeah.
They just were blowing them off the park. They couldn't get out of their own half, South, but then there was an error, and Wayne Bennett's magic again.
He got it again. 3 tries apiece, goal kicking the difference in the end. Sako, I think he missed both. It's hard to kick goals when you've scored the try, let me tell you that.
But you know what I've noticed with him? Remember how he had that good draw?
Yep.
What's he doing different now? It's now going straight.
Going straighter now. Newcastle Knights 10 defeat the West Tigers 8. We called this with SEN. Knights were not good. They were not good. But again, they beat the Tigers in most metrics and eventually found a way. I'll tell you what, Adam O'Brien's very lucky, Brian, because you got to do the maths sometimes. They're down 8 points to 6. You've scored 1 try in an hour.
Take the 2.
You had to take the 2. They rolled the dice, didn't score, and then later on, very luckily, Marzu tiptoes through the tulips, stays in by millimetres. If that doesn't happen, mate, Adam O'Brien would be under the torch today.
Because the Tigers defensively through the middle again, I think they missed over 50 tackles.
They did.
I feel that if Appy plays, they win this game.
Yep.
I really do.
I agree.
Because young De Silva, he's a good player, but there were times where they should have just gone straight rather than... Because Luai was calling the ball, so I suppose De Silva had to call him, had to give it to him when your captain's calling the ball. But I feel if Appy was there, he would have steadied the ship a little bit because they were sort of making yardage, punching holes through the middle, and they kept going wide. But that comes with experience.
It's no tap-in versus the Parramatta Eels, I'm telling you. Tigers have to... I know they get Appy back, they get Dream back, but they must go to a new level. Sharp was good in the halves. I thought he was good. Ponga come up with some massive plays, getting out of the in-goal.
I said this last night on Matty's show. I don't want to say it, but I think I'm going to.
Yep.
At the moment, they're a one-man team.
One-man team.
If he doesn't play, they get lapped.
Yep. I totally agree. West Tigers will head to take on Parramatta Eels. Knights host the Dolphins. Gee, that's a tricky game I've ever seen one. Broncos 50, smash the Roosters 14. Just class. Just that Scoreline reflected exactly what we saw in the trials. Roosters have been a bit shabby. Broncos have been awesome. They were the best performed team in the preseason. That said, there's a big asterisk there for the Roosters. No Butcher Boys.
No.
Radley came off. And while we have to have this stupid activation rule, I can't believe why we do that. You've got a young kid there who could debut. Just get him on. Take the blue vest on and take it off, rather, and let him get onto the field. There's upside in the Roosters. People are selling them. I get that. I understand that. They're going to have a tough week against the Panthers. I get all that. Anyway, round 2 on SEN. It's all in front of you. Knights take on the Dolphins. We've got that call. Warriors and the Seagulls likewise. Dragons and the Rabbitohs likewise. Broncos radio for the Raiders-Broncos game. You've got Eels and the Tigers. And we've also got the Bulldogs and the Titans. So the SEN app has got you well and truly covered on the run home with Joel and Fletch. What, you're still here? Well, you can see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio, you beautiful humans.